The very name itself, friends, Swami Viveka Ananda. Viveka is discretion. The discretion is in all of us, but how many of us use this discretion diligently is the big question. If you can use your Viveka, discretion, you will always be doing the right thing in your life. And if you are doing the right thing in your life, you will always be with bliss. That is Ananda. It is not pleasure. Pleasure is different from Ananda. Ananda is something that is always with you. Whatever may be the circumstances, whatever may be the environment in which we live, inside you will maintain the tranquility. And that is what is very important. Lord Buddha, while interacting with his disciples, once says to one of his disciples, you must follow my instructions diligently so that you can be blissful. You can always have Ananda. And he says further, tranquility inside, activity outside. Whatever you do in this world is an external activity which should not disturb your tranquility inside. That is what is real Ananda, that is what is bliss. And Swami Vivekananda is standing for that. Viveka plus Ananda, that discretion and bliss. If you use your discretion as a leader, everything will be fine. I can give it to you in writing. Because you know what is right, what is wrong. What has to be done, what need not be done. And Swami Vivekananda stood for this. And that is why we say he is an icon when we talk about leadership on any platform. Friends, I must tell you, today in the present era of management, students of management studies discuss one concept called servant leadership. There are different styles of leadership. In fact, we say autocrat leader. Autocrat leader is one who is a dictator. He will not ask anyone. He will not take any suggestions. He or she would only say, do as I say. He is like Hitler. Nothing is taken, only given. I give you instructions and you must follow that. That's it. Otherwise, I will fire you. That is autocratic leadership. There is what is called as democratic leadership. One who is very democratic, who would take suggestions, who would discuss, and then finally would make a decision. There is also another type of leadership. Mrs. Indira Gandhi was known to be using this style of leadership, which is called benevolent autocrat. You are an autocrat, but you appear to be benevolent, you appear to be democratic. You seek suggestions, but you don't actually consider them at all. I will call a meeting of all of you as experts and say, please share your opinion. You share your opinion, that's it. I take my own decision. I would never consider your suggestions. So it is called benevolent autocrat. But Swamiji, without knowing that he was giving something new to this world, used this concept of leadership known as servant leadership. Today, the entire world is discussing about servant leadership. What he meant by servant leadership is very simple, friends. He believed in one thing. If I am ready to serve, I can also become a leader. I am serving, I follow. I can also become a leader. And he said two things. A good leader should not forget two things in life: service and sacrifice. When it comes to sacrifice, it is the leader who must first be ready to sacrifice. Please remember this. While driving down to your campus, I saw some litter bins placed in the university, which is the replica of a bird called emperor penguin. Most of you must have seen the dustbin that is kept outside. It is the replica of that bird called emperor penguin. Emperor penguin, friends, you must note this. Many people say, don't behave like animals. I, for one, because I am a naturalist, I would always say, please behave like animals. Animals will always behave very diligently, unlike human beings. We human beings don't respect rules, but animals respect them. They have an unwritten rule in nature. Every animal follows it. But we as human beings, we ignore. We don't mind just neglecting everything. So if somebody says, don't behave like animals, please tell them, no, I want to behave like animals. This emperor penguin, friends, if you want to know about what is called servant leadership, you must draw an example from the lives of these emperor penguins. Emperor penguins live in Antarctica, our southern pole, and the pole is frozen for almost 4 to 5 months. The entire region is frozen and it is only ice block. You can walk on that, you can play cricket, you can play football, you can do anything. It is frozen land. These penguins will go without food for 4 to 5 months because the entire sea is frozen and they have no food because they have to fish, and the fish is underwater and the top is frozen. Imagine the temperature will be minus 60 degrees. Minus 60 degrees, and all these birds are without food for almost 4 months. They are waiting for the ice to break. At the onset of summer, the ice starts breaking, and that is the time when they must go, dive and fish. But they also know that there are other animals in the water which are also waiting for food in the form of birds. Now, who should take the lead? That is the question. Somebody must go and test, you must test the waters, as we say in English, testing waters. Who should go? The leader penguin will be the first to take the dive. This is what is servant leadership, and that is what Swami Vivekananda believed in. You must serve, you must sacrifice. That bird, the leader, is prepared to sacrifice its life for the welfare of his fellow birds, all his brothers and sisters and mother, whoever that individual is, that is prepared to take a dive. It dives. When it dives, all other birds are standing, waiting for the action. If the leader comes back, friends, you must see this, it's a delight to watch. If the leader comes back, all of them dive at once. Imagine this. I want you to imagine this scenario. Lakhs and lakhs of emperor penguins standing there, waiting for the leader to appear, to come back. If he comes back, everyone is sure that there is no danger. All of them plunge. And this is what is servant leadership. And that is what Swami Vivekananda believed in. You must serve, you must be ready to sacrifice. And Swami Vivekananda, a true leader because he was a great visionary and missionary. The man who believed in vision, the man who believed in mission. And how was his vision? When he was traveling to United States of America to participate in the world's parliament religion, he was traveling in the ship and his co-traveler was none other than Jamshedji Tata. When he was discussing with Jamshedji Tata, he tells Tata that you, as a philanthropist, you are doing a lot of good work for this great country called Bharata. You must also think in terms of establishing a premier science institute in India. And as a result of that, we have in Bangalore Indian Institute of Science working even to this day, friends. And you will be surprised if I give you a fact. About 35 to 38% of the engineers and scientists who are working for NASA in America are from this institute called Indian Institute of Science. If NASA is successful in doing some great work, they are indebted to our own engineers and scientists, and that is because of the foresight of Swami Vivekananda. He thought about it. He did not stop there. He thought about the women folk of our country who were neglected. girls were not given education in India for certain reasons. Unfortunately, they were not given such facilities. Vivekananda felt that pain. He has said, I did not just say you must start, but I feel a pain because our daughters, our sisters are not given this opportunity. So he specially brings Sister Nivedita from Ireland. That lady from Ireland becomes the disciple of Vivekananda. He brings her and says, you must work for education of our girl children in India, for the welfare of our girls in India. That is why we call him a true leader, because he had that vision. And today, friends, I am sure all the girls who are sitting here will be proud of this fact. India has produced the greatest pilots that the world has produced in terms of women pilots. Very recently, you must have seen in newspapers, all women crew flew non-stop from America to India, and entire aircraft was manned by women crew and pilots, the cabin crew and the other crew members. That is the capacity. He had realized it. He knew that our women have extraordinary power. Only thing that is required is an opportunity to make them blossom, to make them develop themselves into a full-fledged personality. Whenever Swami Vivekananda talked about personality, in fact, many people use this as a misnomer. Personality is not just the physique. It is the sum total of what you have. That is your personality. And he could see that what was lacking was good education to our women folk, our girls. So he visualized. He had this concept very clear in his mind. That goal was very clear in his mind. So he brought Sister Nivedita and said, you must help our girl children. That was his ability to see. And that is what is a true leader. If you can understand the word of leadership, friends, each word, each letter rather, stands for a quality of a good leader. L stands for learning, listening. You must listen to your people. You must be ready to learn from anyone. Our culture, Indian culture, a Vedic statement is a wonderful statement without any bias. You should not worry about your religion, your caste, your gender, nothing. It goes beyond all this. It says, Ano bhadraha kratavoyantu vishwataha. To mean, in short, let noble thoughts come from all direction. I have no prejudice, I have no bias, whether it comes from an ordinary person, an illiterate person, or an educated, literate person, or from the east or the west. I have no prejudice, I have no bias. As long as it is good to me, good to this country, I must accept. This is what Swamiji believed in. And that is why we say that L stands for learning. You must always learn, keep learning. Just because I have become a leader, I should not think that I have learnt everything. There is no one on this earth who can be called learned. Friends, please remember, sometimes, while introducing me as a speaker, they put me in embarrassment when they say, here is a learned man. No, I am also not a learned person. I am also a learner like you. Constantly we keep learning. That must be our attitude, and that was the attitude of Swami Vivekananda. If you have read about Swami Vivekananda, you would know one of the anecdotes which happened in his life. When he was a sannyasi, when he was walking in Varanasi, going towards a temple, monkeys started chasing him. And Swami Vivekananda started running. Because large monkeys, they are called langurs. If you have seen in North India, langurs are very bulky. They are very big monkeys. They started chasing him. He also started running. There was a sannyasi who was sitting there. He said, hey, what are you doing? Why are you running? Turn back, look at them, face them. That sannyasi told Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda immediately turned back, stood there firmly, and all the monkeys looked at him and ran away. And Swami Vivekananda makes one statement. I wish all of you remember this for life. This is not for your examination alone. Otherwise, what you normally do is examination. Once the examination is over, that is forgotten. Please don't do that. This is for your life. Life is the university. Life is your examination. He says, face the brutes, be brave, don't become weak. You must be brave to face challenges. And very recently I was interacting with one of the ex-servicemen, like my own friend who is here, who is an ex-serviceman. And he was telling me, when we interview for some posts, we don't consider their academic record. Because academic record, some people would say, sir, distinction throughout. And I asked him, why don't you consider this? Distinction throughout. He said, no, we don't, because they don't know about failure at all. If you don't know about failure, you will be a misfit to serve in our armed forces. And that is very important. And Swamiji believed in it. Learn. If you commit mistakes, don't worry. You must overcome that mistake. And what is experience? Many people tell me, when I ask them, what is experience? Experience is what happens to us. No. Experience is not what happens to you. Experience is what you make out of it. I have failed in my exam. That is not experience. What I learn because of my failure is my experience. Please understand this. So I must learn something out of it. Only then I will be called a constant learner, not otherwise. I don't say you must fail. Please don't catch me wrong. Professors are sitting here and they will take me to task. Please don't catch me wrong. By any chance, something adverse happens, you must have the courage to face that. Youngsters, please remember this. I have seen of late our youngsters don't have that capacity to withstand, overcome that failure. You must. It is not the end of the road. It is only a bend in the road. Remember this. Something happens to me, that is not the end of it. There is a bend in the road, means it to take me somewhere else. And that must be your motto in life. And that is what Swamiji believed in. And he was a good listener. He would listen to people. When you speak to him with rapt attention, he would listen to you, and he could even reproduce whatever you have spoken to him. He had that memory, photographic memory. I will tell you something about it a little later. So we must always listen to people if we should become good leaders. And what is said? If you listen attentively, you have more information, more facts to make a sound decision. Otherwise, you can't make a sound decision. Because I don't have information. I don't have sufficient data, sufficient information. So I must listen to people. That was his ability. E, the next letter in leadership, E stands for a great quality of a leader like Swami Vivekananda is empathy. What is empathy? These days we talk about so many pathis, isn't it? Allopathy, homeopathy, Sitapathy, Kitapathy, whatnot. All pathis, right? Empathy, friends, I want you to understand this carefully. Empathy, the definition in a dictionary is stepping into the shoes of others. According to me, that's not the correct definition. What Swamiji showed practically is empathy. I will tell you what happened. What is empathy? Once Swami Vivekananda was trekking in the mountain region in Himalayas, and there was a lady, a Bhutanese lady, who was also trekking with heavy load on her back. Friends, if some of you have trekked in Himalayas, this is a common sight. Women work so hard, men gamble. They smoke. Charas is available freely in the mountain regions. They smoke, they gamble. It is the woman of the household who takes care of everything, right from work outside in the fields and also at home. So this Bhutanese lady was carrying a heavy load on her back. It was so heavy, she was not able to walk straight, she was going zigzag here and there. She was not able to control because of the overweight at the back, and she fell down. When she fell down, she had injury to her ribs, and she screamed. When she screamed, a few seconds after that, Swami Vivekananda, who was also trekking, started screaming and said, I have severe pain in my ribs. He could feel the pain of that lady. That is empathy, not merely stepping into the shoes of others. You are feeling very sorrow, I say, okay, let me step into your shoes. That is not empathy. Feeling the way the other person is feeling. That is true empathy. And be with them. Some of you must have read this or heard this story. It always moves me. Whenever I talk about empathy, I would always use this. Something forces me to use this. There was a young girl, very young girl, studying probably in 2nd or 3rd standard. Very good looking girl. She had very long black thick hairs. But the only problem of the parents was she was never ready to eat curd rice. The parents used to goad her. They used to coax her. Eat some little curd rice. She would say no. But one evening, the girl comes back from the school and says, Mummy, today I will eat curd rice. Mother is so happy. All these days we were forcing, we were trying to goad, we were trying to coax. But today the girl on her own, she is saying, I will eat curd rice. Mother was so happy. She said, wonderful, wonderful, I am very happy. Then the girl says, Mummy, on one condition, you must promise me. The mother says, don't worry, I will promise. The girl says, no, you should not go back on your promise. You promise. The mother holds the hand on the hand of the baby and says, I promise. Night at dinner, father, mother and this young girl sitting. The girl eats curd rice and then says, Mummy, you had promised me something. You must now fulfill. Mother is very happy. She thinks, probably she would ask for a doll or some gift. After all, a few bucks, I will get it. The child says, Mummy, tomorrow before I go to school, you must shave off my head. Mother is shocked. Father is shocked. That baby has such beautiful hair. The beauty is because of the long, thick black hair, How can they think of shaving the head? The child says, no, Mommy, you can't go back. They have no other option. Next morning, the child is taken to a barber shop. Those days there were no beauty parlors. So they asked the barber to shave off the head. The head is shaven. Father and mother, both of them are really very sad. But no other go. Father, as usual, takes the child to the school in his car, drops the child near the gate. Another lady is walking with a boy who is also bald. This girl runs and hugs that boy and says, Ajit, I told you yesterday that I will come like you tomorrow. See, I have come like you today. And that boy also hugs this girl. Young boy, young girl. The mother of the boy who is standing there is in tears. And this man doesn't understand what is happening. Suddenly he would go a little close. This boy and the girl run away to their class. That lady is still crying. This man musters a lot of courage, goes to her and says, what's happening? I don't understand anything. Then the mother says, my boy has blood cancer. Because of chemotherapy, he lost his hair. And everyone in the class used to rag him, tease him, and say Baldi, Taklu, Boda, by different names. And my son had decided to discontinue his studies. He had told me that he would stop going to the school. But that's the time when your daughter told him, I will also come like you tomorrow. Please come. Don't stop coming. I will come like you. And today she has come like this. What I can do is I can only pray God to give you all good health and happiness, because your little girl has shown what a difference she can make in the life of my son. And that is empathy, friends. And that is what is true empathy, feeling for others. And that is what Swami Vivekananda exhibited. He felt that pain. So a good leader always empathizes with people. You are in need, I am there because I am a servant of yours. I believe in servant leadership. I am ready to serve. I am ready to sacrifice. I don't mind sacrificing my own pleasure as this young girl did. She sacrificed her beauty. And that is what is a true leader. And that is embodiment of leadership in Swami Vivekananda. And another E, of course, it also talks about what is called as empowering people. In management we say a true leader is not one who leads, but one who prepares leaders. If I should become a good leader, I must prepare my leaders. In the sense, my second line, the third line, should not stop there. There, after me, who else? Somebody must be ready to take over. The second line, the third line. So a true leader is one who empowers, who makes others also good leaders. He had a fellow monk, a brother monk by name Sharadananda. When Swamiji was in England, he writes a letter to his monk brother Sharadananda and says, "Dear brother Sharadananda, you must come to England and take over the work that I am doing here. You must come and take over the work that I am doing in England." But somehow, Sharadananda was not prepared to take over that job because he felt, he is not competent. He cannot take over the work of Swami Vivekananda. He kept quiet. He did not answer. Swami Vivekananda knew that there is something wrong because basically he doesn't have that self-confidence. He writes a letter to Sharadananda. I want you to understand every line of it. He says, "My dear brother Sharadananda, when I ask some of my people to do something, I have full faith in their capacity. When I ask you to come and do something here, I have full faith in your capacity. I will not ask anyone to do something where I know that they can't do it. I asked you to come, don't worry. Hereafter, I will not bother you. You need not come. If I was of some service to you, I am happy. May God bless you throughout your life." He did not force him to come and take over. So he says, "Okay, don't worry. I have faith in you, but you don't have faith in yourself. Don't worry. I will not bother you. I will not call you once again. But God bless you. I have no prejudice. Just because you said no, I don't say, you useless fellow." No. He did not say that. So he writes, what was the after effect of this letter? Sharadananda immediately flew to England and took over the job and did it so very well. And that is why there is a saying in management. If you believe somebody, if you have belief in somebody, that will make them believe in themselves. I believe in you, that will make you believe in yourself. Like our great Hanuman. Hanuman initially refused to fly to Sri Lanka. But when all others said, "No, we have faith in you, you can do it, you will do it," he started believing in himself and he jumped. So that is the quality of a true leader. He empowers. Once when Swami was in England, he was to deliver a talk. Everything was set and Swami Vivekananda was to be invited for the dais. When somebody stood up and said, "I now invite Swami," Swami Vivekananda immediately stood up and said, "Swami Sharadananda will speak today." Last minute, he gave that opportunity to Swami Sharadananda. Sharadananda, could not say no. He spoke so very well, and people say he was equally powerful like Swami Vivekananda. And that is what is empowering people. So, a leader empathizes and empowers. And A stands for adaptability. You must be ready to adapt to any situation. Swamiji has gone without food for many days. He has sat for meditation for many continuous days. And that is adaptability. When you have everything, eat well. When you have nothing to eat, don't worry. That is adaptability. That is flexibility. That is the attitude. That is what Swami Vivekananda had, and that is why we call him a true leader. He had that adaptability. And D stands for discipline and devotion. And Swamiji was so disciplined, he would always say, if you say it is at 9 o'clock, it must be at 9. I am very proud to share one fact with all of you. I really feel proud. Every year, I go to Defence Services Staff College, which is located in Wellington, in Ooty, in Nilgiris, in Tamil Nadu. And their punctuality is, if the program should begin at 10 o'clock, 9:55, everyone must be ready. Their punctuality is 10 means it is not 10, it is 9:55. And that is very important. Unfortunately, friends, I am sorry to say this, we come late, and when somebody asks us, we would say, sir, Indian Standard Time, sir. Don't bring the name of India. Let us accept our mistake. I am sorry, I have come late. Don't say Indian Standard Time. We should work on this, and Swamiji believed in that. And Swamiji was not biased. I must tell you this. He did not have any bias, no prejudice. He was very critical of the fact that Americans were very, very materialistic in their approach. Highly materialistic. He used to comment, he used to criticize, but at the same time, he would tell Indians, you must learn organizational skills from America. You talk about Americans, right? You ridicule. No, you must learn so many good things from Americans. And somebody ridiculed English people. He said, no, don't do that. You can't make a pin like an English company can make. So it is not that, we always talk about our glory. Learn good things from others. And that is why Swamiji was so disciplined, so devoted to the cause. He was so devoted to the cause, nothing would distract him. It is said in management, if you take off your eyes from the goal, you will see obstacles. If you don't take off your eyes from the goal, you will only see the goal. Nothing else appears before you. That must be your motto, and that is how Swamiji lived. He had one vision, to see great Bharata. He had so much of faith in youngsters like you. This is the youngsters are the future of this country. And of course, I also repeat that. You are the future of the country. We are all old. We have to step back. You must take over. His devotion to the cause was so great. An American lady, friends, very rich lady, and according to an estimate, her guest house had about 100 rooms. Imagine the richness of the lady. And she had more than 100 servants. Such a palatial building. One day, she tells Swamiji, I want to talk to you personally. And Swamiji says, yes, tell me. What is that you want? She says, I want a son like you. I want to marry you. Such a rich lady, such a beautiful lady. I don't know what others would have done. I can see the smiles on the faces of the boys sitting here, which answers my question. Swami Vivekananda, he had only one goal. He did not take off his eyes from the goal. He immediately said, if you want a son like me, accept me as your son right now. Why wait? And he immediately falls at her feet and says, Mother, I am your son from now on. You are my mother. What a great leader. Nothing prevented him. So he did not take off his eyes from the goal. Anyone would have fallen to that temptation. But he stood firm. That is how a good leader is. And once again, we talk of E, another E. This E is ease of work. Whatever you do, don't say it is hard work. It must be smart work. Today in management throughout the world, friends, people say, when I was a student, my teachers used to always say hard work. Then, people shifted from hard work to smart work. Don't hard work. Don't work hard. Be smart. And now, they have shifted. Hard work to smart work, and now it is called network. Everything depends on your networking. So that shift, is very important. So he says, ease of work. In Kannada we say, ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ, ಇಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿ. If you can do it with love and affection, if you can do it with pleasure, enjoy doing it, where is the question of drudgery? Where is the question of monotony? Nothing prevents. As students, you must study with a lot of interest. You must get involved. Nothing else. A student, in Sanskrit we say, Vidyarthi. In Kannada also, of course, we use that. Vidyarthi is one who seeks education. So your job is only to study. Only to study. Study, enjoy studying it. Best will come out of you. So that ease of work is very important. And then, we talk of R. That R stands for responsibility, respect. Take that responsibility on your shoulders. And that is what Swamiji says. Take up the responsibility on your shoulders and say, I am responsible. For whatever you do, you are responsible. No one else is responsible. And respect. Friends, this is very, very important. Respect is, Swami Vivekananda used to always talk about this to youngsters. Said, if you don't respect yourself, you will not respect anyone. If you don't love yourself, you will not love anyone. And when he talked about love, he talked about pure love, what we call as divine love, what we call as motherly love. It is not the love of your cinema, your novels. That is entirely different. It is more of infatuation than love. It is physical attraction than love. So he said love and purity must go hand in hand. That must be pure. That is very important. I think I have 5 minutes to sum up. Okay. By the time I see somebody standing, it's an indication to me. And that is what, makes a good leader. Vivekananda was also so good in his communication. He had that wit. He had presence of mind. He had sense of humor. Everything combined to make a wonderful leader. When he was in America, he also enrolled as a student. And there was a professor who did not like Swami Vivekananda. He had a dislike for him for some reason. Reasons best known to him. One day, professor was in the cafeteria. He brought his plate of meal. Swami Vivekananda also took his plate of meal, sat next to him. This professor, as it is, had prejudice, dislike to Swami Vivekananda. He looked at Vivekananda and said, a pig and a bird will not sit together. What an insult. That's not good manners. But Swami Vivekananda did not lose his temper. He had that wit, he had that presence of mind, sense of humor. He immediately said, yes, sir, I agree. I fly away from this place. So he took the plate and went to another table saying, I will fly away. To mean that person, you are the pig, I am the bird. That is wit, that is presence of mind, that is sense of humor. The same professor, next day, accidentally he met him and he asked Swamiji one question. If you find a bag full of money and bag full of wisdom, which one do you pick? Swamiji very easily said, of course, I would take the bag with full of money. And immediately professor said, if I were to be in your place, I would have taken the bag which is full of wisdom. And Swamiji says, yes, sir, each one will pick what he doesn't have. So I pick money, you pick wisdom. And same professor, when Swamiji answered a test paper, he had only written idiot. He wrote idiot and gave it to Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda looked at it, he went, sat on his bench, and after 2 minutes, he raised his hand with the papers and said, sir. Professor said, yes, what? He comes to him and says, sir, you have only signed, but you have not allotted a grade to me, sir. You have only signed. See, a leader will always have that wit, presence of mind, and humor. If you have that, you can overcome any situation very easily, coupled with that positive attitude. So have that as the quality of leadership which Swami Vivekananda showed to this entire world. And finally, to conclude, when Sister Nivedita was working for the cause of the poor people in West Bengal had severe plague, an epidemic like the COVID. And Swamiji those days had sent a protocol. What you must do? Look at his visionary attitude. He had written, don't panic, don't unnecessarily worry. We are with you. If you are happy, we are happy. If you are sorrow, we are sorrowful. We are with you, don't worry. Don't believe in rumors. Be safe. Keep yourself healthy. Keep yourself clean. Keep your surroundings clean. These are the guidelines that Swamiji sent to all the people in Bengal. And same thing that we see today issued by the government, but under the name government of so and so. copied from what Swami Vivekananda had said more than 100 years ago. So when she was working, Sister Nivedita was working for the cause of the people in West Bengal because it was ravaged by plague. She also contracted malaria, severe malaria. And Swami came to know about this. Swami Vivekananda came to know about this. He writes a letter and says, brave only will be ready to serve. See the words. Brave only will be ready to serve and sacrifice. Continue your service. And just after that, a few years, she died at the age of 44 years. And that was the inspiration of Swamiji. And that is why Swamiji has given one wonderful saying. I wish you take this as the mantra of your life. You will be happy, you will make all others happy. He said, they alone live who live for others. The rest are dead, more than dead than alive. The rest are more dead than alive. I'm sorry. So he says, only those who serve others, they live. The rest are more dead than alive. So when we have capacity, we must serve. We must be happy. Derive happiness from the happiness of all others. And that is what our scriptures say. Santosham janayet pragnaha tadeva ishvara pujanam. The true worship of the Lord, whatever God that you worship, irrespective of the religion that you follow, the true worship of the Lord is the worship of the people. And that is very important. If you can keep somebody happy, God is happy. And Swamiji makes one more statement. Only those who serves Jiva serves God. One who serves Jiva serves God. Any Jiva, whether it's a plant or an animal or a human being, some service to some living being, that service reaches God, and that is the true worship. So friends, thank you very much for staying so patiently, and I hope all of you listened to me, or I don't know whether you only heard me. Were you listening or hearing me? Listening. Thank you very much. I thank all the authorities.